And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome, Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. We always like to educate you, entertain a bit, and also engage with you as your consumer advocate. We want to engage with you and help you understand your buying decisions, make you more street smart here in Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region of Florida. We love to serve the community. 813-917-1894, online at consumerqb.com. And you can call or text the hotline. It's 813-917-1894. And subscribe to the YouTube podcast as well as our iTunes and Spotify podcast. So YouTube video series, over 2,000 videos now on YouTube. So we greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel. And let's give a quick shout out to Discovery Golf Cars here in Tampa Bay. If you don't have a golf car, they can hook you up. They've got multiple locations here in Tampa Bay, and they hooked us up with the Keller Williams Red, beautiful golf course cart a couple years ago, and I love them. They got the Easy Go, Star EV, Cushman, Tampa, Clearwater locations, discoverygolfcars.com, and make sure you let them know you heard about them right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we got a great lineup for you today. Jay Smith, A Snoop Inspection in the house, the Snoop Dogg in the house. He's going to talk about inspections, 4 points, roof permit, some of the different things happening in the real estate space. Criminal defense attorney Anthony Rickman as well on the second half of the show. I'm probably going to ask him about Alec Baldwin case and see what his thoughts are since that's in his line. We also have an interesting story from the FAA and also a really unique global economy look. We're going to look at this global economy, the top 5 countries. So interesting stuff coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Always like to help our sellers profit more and sell faster. We got a property at 202 Westchester Hills. This is a property that we've got listed in Hillsborough County, 202 Westchester Hills in Valrico. It's 3,500 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2-car garage. You got a cul-de-sac home, heated and saltwater pool. You have an enclosure around the pool, stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, brand new roof and AC units. 202 Westchester Hills Lane in Valrico. Beautiful property in Hillsborough County, Florida. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And also, one of my favorite listings right now is 1991 Orange Court in Dunedin. This is a Pinellas County home. It's a large home as well, cul-de-sac also, 2,881 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 3 bath. Updated kitchen, solar panels, oversized heated pool, large screen lanai, and a huge split floor plan, and beautiful property at 1991 Orange Court in Dunedin, Florida. You can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Yeah, I'm racing my class to those saving our ass overseas.
Yes, shout out to our veterans. We love our vets. We love our active military, of course. All of those that are saving us overseas, so we don't have to do that here at home. Jay Smith, welcome back in, sir.
Hey, love to be here.
Yes, sir. A Snoop Inspection. How'd you come up with the name A Snoop Inspection, by the way?
Honestly, it took a couple of months. Just sitting down, brainstorming, writing names down, and finally, when that came up, I just knew that was the one I was going to go with.
Because you're snooping around. That's what you're doing, right?
Yeah, we are, really. And I wanted something to stand out. I mean, Jay Smith, last name Smith. It wasn't going to be Smith Inspections or anything like that. That we went with A Snoop Inspection.
I love it. Yeah, you got the Snoop Dogg right there on your shirt and the branding now, and it's very memorable.
Yes, I meet agents all the time. It's like, you've been around for a long time, which I have been 12 years now.
Yeah.
And there's agents I haven't done inspections for, but they know the name still.
Yeah, that's right. A Snoop. That's like sometimes with me, like people kind of say, well, I remember it was a quarterback or the football player guy or something, but it's like, yeah, Brandon Rhymes, the real estate quarterback.
Yeah, they don't remember Brandon, but they remember the quarterback part of it.
That's right.
You're the guy.
Something to do. Is your show a sports talk show? I'm like, not really, but we do mention sports a little bit.
Yeah,
Speaking of sports, what do you think about Brady? Is he done? Is he going to come back to Miami, Las Vegas? Where's he going next?
I think there's a good shot he goes to the Raiders.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, but
it'd be a
who
fun
knows?
place. That'd be a fun place to play. I mean, maybe have a second home out there, a condo. I like Miami better. I would opt for Miami though.
Yeah, I mean, if it was my position, I'd stick in Florida and not Vegas, but it's not
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's Mr. Tom Brady's decision there.
I would milk that for, if I can get another year in the NFL, I would. He's still playing high level.
I don't doubt he plays 2 more years, but I think that's got to be it. I mean, I can't imagine him going past that.
He's going to be a senior citizen out there playing quarterback.
And wherever he goes, does he talk Gronk into coming back? I think that's the bigger factor.
Yeah. I mean, that's Super Bowl winning right there. That's a good combo.
Gronk said he was bored not too long ago.
Yeah, he rested his back a little bit, so now his back's, healed up, and maybe that's a new trend. 1 year on, 1 year off.
Could be. Never
Too
know.
bad we can't do that.
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Speaking of work, let's talk about work a little bit here. So J. Smith, A. Snoop Inspection here. I got roof written down as my notes because that was such a big item in the state legislature with Ron DeSantis' state legislature. There was, these contractors that were, going around knocking on people's doors saying, hey, there was a name storm. I can get you a free roof. And, the old lady would say, well, I don't need a new roof, do I? Oh, yeah, sure you do. You need a new roof. So that's what happened. It kind of perpetuated fraud. The industry got hit with millions and millions of dollars, probably in the billions. But roof is a big issue right now. Getting a mortgage, you got to get the insurance bound, and then to get the mortgage to be able to. What are you seeing in that area of roofing?
Well, the biggest thing is, as of the first of this year, with the 4-point report, we have to include a copy of the roof permit.
Okay.
So if you didn't have one, if your brother-in-law helped you put a roof on 3 years ago on Saturday and Sunday on the weekends, that's not going to work. I mean, you're going to have the roof permits. And
what happens in that scenario, by the way?
There are some options. Not every municipality, but a lot of municipalities will allow you to try to figure out a way to permit it, and you'll have to contact an engineer. An engineer's going to have to sign off on the roof and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
it's not going to be a few $100. It's going to be $800,000 to get that done, which is still cheaper than a roof. Now, if you get into a roof that they didn't get a permit for, that's say 15 years or more old, are you going to waste the time even doing the engineering part of it, or just go ahead and replace it?
Right. Yeah, because sometimes we run across houses over the years where, they may have changed out a window to French doors or something like that. That would require a permit, right?
Yep, should.
And if they didn't, what happens? Is it kind of like an after the fact permit?
Absolutely. I mean, it is. And, a window or a door, the county will come out and reinspect that. You don't necessarily have to have an engineer. But roofing-wise, they don't want to get into an old roof.
Yeah.
I mean, an engineer could actually come out and take a section of the shingles off to double check how it was done. You never know what they're going to require to do that, and that's really on them. The other thing is just making sure your permits are closed out. Now that we have to put a copy of it, a lot of times that copy of the permit will either say expired, closed, finalized. I mean, there's a lot of different wording that's there that will show up for that report on the 4-point, and the insurance company is going to be looking at it.
Wow. Yeah, it's a lot to consider, and you can get yourself in trouble there, especially, if you got a contract and, you got a buyer that spent money on inspections and, they're going through the process, and then they find out all these issues. So is that something the homeowner can just look up pretty easily online?
No.
No?
Well, it really depends on where you are. I mean, every municipality is different. I mean, even we're sitting here in Hillsborough County, and you've got the county that does permits. You've got the city of Tampa that does permits, the city of Temple Terrace, the city of Plant City. For instance, Plant City, if you're within the city limits, they're not online. The only way I can get the information is call them and request it.
Wow, interesting. So they're kind of old school, huh?
So no, it's not always simple. It really depends on where you are. And if you consider Pinellas County, all your beaches, St. Pete, Oldsmar, Dunedin, Tarpon Springs, all of those areas do their own permitting.
Wow.
So it's not necessarily just easily accessible.
Not only county-wide, it's each municipality.
Yep, exactly.
J. Smith, A. Snoop Inspection here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes, talking about those underlying issues that can sometimes hold up real estate deals, inspections. 4 points are a big deal. Yep. Tell me about 4 points.
Well, the 4-point, we just talked about the roof, so that's one of the 4 points that those same items come up on the 4-point that we've got to deal with. The other part of it, I would say, is electrical these days.
Yeah.
If you are buying an older home, prior to 1970 or really prior to 1975, just make sure that your inspector knows what he's doing, is marking down everything the proper way and what you actually have in the house. I would say one thing that's happening is some inexperienced home inspectors are not really looking into the house. And you buy the house, you get a clear 4-point when you move in, and then 2 years later, you have to reshop your insurance. You get a new inspection. A different inspector comes out, and he spots things that the other inspector didn't write down.
Right.
And now you say, well, I had a clear 4-point. Clear 4-point doesn't mean it's clear. It's some of it's an opinion, and some of it's standards in the industry. And if that inspector's not following all the standards in the industry, then you could be caught, and you might have to spend $1,000, $2,000, even more to upgrade something to make sure it's up to closer to current standards or insurance standards. It's not even current standards. It's the requirements that the insurance companies want.
Yeah, totally get it. And that's that's something that you got to look at, and a situation where when you think about the 4-point, it's pivotal because now you're affecting the insurance, because a lot of times, sometimes it's not the mortgage, it's not the it's the insurance that keeps the bound. If you're not bound on insurance, then you can't close on the home, you can't close on the mortgage.
Well, one quick one, and just this can come up. Your 1950s homes, most of them don't have grounds if you haven't rewired, and not I would say the majority of 1950s homes are not rewired. Now, if they've gone in and put in 3-prong outlets and there's no grounds, and your original inspector didn't write it up, it can come up with a different inspector.
Yeah.
And they did change the codes when you retrofit newer items in those old houses, how they do it. And some electricians are following those codes and some aren't.
Yeah. Now, producer Alex, you got your mic on there? You got your mic?
Yes, sir.
Jay's got his beard growing out. He's got a pretty impressive beard over here, doesn't he? You've got the products, right, that you on your Instagram? The beard stuff?
Yeah, man, definitely. I can. I mean, you look like you put a little bit of love and care into it. I can definitely point you in the right direction and help you go to the next level. I don't know have you guys ever seen the competitions and stuff? There's actually the beard competitions.
I've seen a couple of them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that.
We can maybe do a tag team, man. Me and you. I'll grow mine out longer again, and then we'll go.
Do it.
We'll take the world by storm.
Yeah, he had his longer for a while there, but that's impressive.
Yeah.
Takes patience.
It'll be the length of it, growing it on out instead of keeping it short. It'll be 2 years in March.
Nice. Good stuff.
So
all right.
Coming up on it.
We're going to come back more with Jay Smith, A Snoop Inspection. We're going to talk about the importance of a pre-inspection. What is a pre-inspection? On the seller side, also, it's important. I like to talk to my listing clients about that, given a certain age on the property, of course. Jay Smith, A Snoop Inspection coming up. Also, Anthony Rickman coming up, criminal defense attorney, Rickman Law Firm, on the second half of the show. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. Make sure you follow us on social at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram, Twitter, Getter, and our YouTube channel as well. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's the Captain, Matt Bruce, and you're listening to my buddy Brandon Rhymes, a consumer quarterback. Sell, Brandon, sell.
Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you understand your buying decisions, making you more street smart as a consumer advocate. Also a top 100 ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay. And we help our sellers profit more, sell faster, utilizing our radio TV show model, coupled with internet marketing, of course. 6504 South Linda Street in Tampa. This is a property that we've got in South Tampa. It's a corner lot location, 1,900 square foot. It's a beautiful little gem here in South Tampa. 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, over a quarter acre of land, so it's a nice sized lot, especially for South Tampa. Updated kitchen and bath. Got a motivated seller here and willing to put $10,000 towards closing costs or to help buy down the rate. 6504 South Linda Street in Tampa. One of our hot real estate listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We got 13468 Haverhill Drive in Spring Hill. This is in Spring Hill, Florida, Pasco County. Haverhill Drive, gated community, 2,540 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. And this is a 2-story home in Hernando County. Low HOA fee, Corian countertop, stainless steel appliances. Got community pools, playgrounds, and fitness center at 13468 Haverhill Drive in Spring Hill. One of our hot real estate listings. You can see all of our real estate properties at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, we've got Jay Smith, A Snoop Inspection in the house. And we were talking, kind of teasing up a little bit about the pre-inspection. So I recommend pre-inspections on homes if they are listing with me, and especially if it's what would be your parameters as far as a pre-inspection? 10 years, 8, 12 years? What?
I'd say 20 years or older.
20 years or older. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's within 20 years. Usually you're in pretty good shape, and as long as you know your heating and air conditioning is working. I hate to say this, but when we're back to the roofs, if you still have the original roof, which you probably don't, it could be an issue. So if you put the roof on the last year or two, there shouldn't be too many things that are going to come up. But once you get beyond the 20, and that's really where they're requiring the 4-point reports and getting insurance.
Yep.
That's where you can run into some of the issues and making sure what you have and what you've done to the house or what the previous owner did to the house that maybe didn't come up on your home inspection when you bought it.
Right. Yeah, and breaker boxes are a big issue too, aren't they?
Yep, they are. I mean, even in the 90s, you're running into a brand called Challenger that the insurance companies don't like any longer. And that really just came on the list a few years ago.
Challenger, and there's a couple others that are kind of named.
Well, you got the old Federal Pacifics. You don't really see a whole lot anymore. Sylvania, which is the same as Zinsco because Sylvania bought out the other one. I still see the Sylvanias. I'd still see a Federal Pacific every once in a while, but it is a rare occasion.
Yeah.
It's not very often anymore.
And what do you got to look for? Do you look for double tap breakers? You look for those smaller breakers that's like the really old school style breaker?
Yeah. I mean, the double taps are definitely an issue, but luckily they're easy fixes. But if you can find out about that before your house is for sale,
right,
and fix it, now it doesn't come up and slow down the process of getting it done and getting it sold.
Right.
You want to get to the closing table, and you don't want anything to slow it down. So really, the pre-inspection a lot of times comes down to doing a pre-4-point.
Yeah.
And we'll even make some other suggestions that beyond a 4-point that may not be an insurance issue, but could come up on the main inspection.
Yeah. It's interesting. When you get in these home bidding situations, 6-8 months ago we had the bidding wars. The buyers were a little less stringent on what they would accept, or if it's something cosmetic, they would no way. But if it was something major, then they would maybe bring it up to the seller. Now of course the market shifted. We still have low inventory here in Tampa Bay. It's
still
kind of
a seller's market, but not as much as it was. Is all it comes down
right.
to.
Yeah, but so my point though is when it comes to these, you're seeing more ask on the inspection reports now.
Absolutely.
You're seeing more ask. People are willing to, hey, I'm going to ask for this. Maybe 6 months ago they wouldn't have.
Yep. Seeing a lot more of it. And everyone seems to be more negotiable. You're not getting the 10 offers in the first 24 hours like we were a year ago.
Right.
I mean, it's a little slower process now, which is more normal, and I think it's better for everybody. It's really better for the seller, better for the buyers in the long run that something's not going to come up. Because even if the seller was sort of hiding something and they didn't put something in a disclosure because they were in a hurry for everything, that still can pop up in a later date.
Right, absolutely. If you just joined us, we're talking with Jay Smith, A Snoop Inspection, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Now, one of the things I love about our governor, Ron DeSantis, is he just recently had another bill that came out, and it was talking about capping the purchases of the Chinese Communist Party, the China, buying up farmland, buying up land close to power plants, buying up land close to military positions. I want to play just a bit of a clip here from the real President Trump talking about China buying up our land and infrastructure.
China is buying up our country, while corrupt Democrats and rhino-type politicians in Washington have been spending trillions of dollars on the Green New Deal nonsense, foolish foreign wars, and providing lavish benefits to illegal aliens from all over the planet. China has been spending trillions of dollars to take over the crown jewels of the United States economy, and they are doing that. China is buying up our technology. They're buying up food supplies. They're buying up our farmland. They're buying up our minerals and natural resources. They're buying up our ports and shipping terminals. And with the help of a corrupt influence peddlers like the Biden crime family, China is even trying to buy up the pillars of the U.S. energy industry because, frankly, Biden and the group don't care about real energy. They only care about nonsense energy, energy that doesn't work, and it never will.
Right, yeah, and it's interesting. When you look at that, I mean, buying up food supply, the Chinese Communist Party. First of all, when you think about having Governor DeSantis put a law into place, why would this ever have to be a question? Like we shouldn't let foreign adversaries come in.
I mean, I know the farms aren't necessarily considered infrastructure, but I consider it infrastructure. I mean, that's the stability of our country.
Right.
That's food supply. That's what you're eating every day. I mean, it blows the mind on what's going on today.
Yeah, the technology sector. Of course, they've been in universities for a long time. University of Penn, classified documents now. It's interesting.
Now, I don't know about buying up property around energy some of our power plants and all is going to make a difference because they're trying to get rid of those anyway.
Yeah, right. With the green new climate code, climate
exactly.
code deal.
But no, I still don't want them doing that. But it's just funny how we're trying to get rid of power plants anyway. So it's like, okay, is that really going to be a possibility? They're going to come back. I mean, there's no way that we can switch over. I don't see it in my eyes. Maybe I'm wrong. But it just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't. You see what happened, what was it, last year, year before in Texas? People dying because they were trying to rely on these windmills. Mm-hmm. The windmills froze. By the way, how do you produce those? You're creating steel. You're creating power. You use fossil power to create the windmills, and then they only last a certain amount of time, and then they lock up.
Well, one thing's been interesting to me through the years is it sure seems you see more solar panels on homes in the Northeast than you do in Florida. Now, it's making some strides in Florida, and you're seeing it more and more just in the last 2 or 3 years. But I think they were doing it up in the Northeast 10 years ago. So it's like we're 5 years behind.
From what I've heard, too, from interviewing the solar companies on the show over the years, is that each state, I think it's New Jersey, for example, is very, they're pro, as far as their legislation goes, their benefits, their, tax incentives, things of that nature.
Yep, and that's what we need to do. And I think solar's a good option. Honestly, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I don't think solar was as good an option then as it is today.
Well, I like it too. I like it on the roof. I don't like it on the ground. And that's something that TECO and some of these big companies do is they go buy all this arable land where we could plant crops, we could have cattle, but they'll put these big solar farms, and it's like, well, great, you just ruined that land.
Yes, absolutely.
We have a limited supply of planet Earth.
Yeah, and it does. I know North Carolina's invested a lot in the solar fields. That if you drive up through Carolina, you'll see them all over the place.
Yeah, and it's like, that's ridiculous to me, but it needs to be on top of the buildings, on top of the homes. It makes more sense that way, not in a field. Jay, 15 seconds back to you. Website, social, how do you want folks to get you?
Check out a-snoop.com. Give us a call, 813-345-2600. We can get your house inspected.
a-snoop.com.
Yep.
Find them online, a-snoop.com. Call the hotline, too. We'll put you in touch. Jay Smith, A Snoop Inspection. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. Coming up, attorney Anthony Rickman, criminal defense attorney here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I imagine we'll probably talk about Alec Baldwin a little bit. We might talk about the FAA and some other criminal defense things happening here in the area. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.